Hello, everyone. This is Empowerment Hour Show once again with Joyce, Onhenewaa, Kwapong on Today Ghana News TV. A happy Friday to you all, and I hope you had a blissful week. Friday sees more smiles than any other day of the work week. And to make your smiles complete, Empowerment Hour comes your way every Friday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Today Ghana News TV with exciting and edutaining discussions that seek to empower you. Oh, how I love Friday evenings. I don't know about you, but your continuous patronage of our program speaks volumes. And we want to say thank you so much for tuning in. But please don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You may also kindly like our social media handles, comment, like, and share, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're in the Eastern European countries as well, voila, you can watch us on your screens on satellite, via satellite on Twitch. So if you're in the Eastern European country, kindly join us on satellite. Okay, so I have good news for you. All right, so Today Ghana News and Empowerment, as well as all our other programs that we host during the entire week, is getting bigger and bigger every day. Today Ghana News now broadcast on Anchor FM. Isn't that exciting? We are growing, and certainly we are growing with you. So keep journeying with us to the promised land of greatness. Be part of our growth process. Cheers. So let us take a quick commercial break. Afterwards, I'll proceed to introduce our guest for tonight. Tonight promises to be very interesting and educative. So stay tuned. We'll go on a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Let me say a fish, I won't do the brave, you or your monk or her, your fish, be to say catfish, your catfish or your rahu, your barracuda, your tilapia medium, any your big size, any your red brim or air cleaning dada, any your the ain't clean here, any your fish, egg fish, any your mackerel, any your croaker, any your snappers, clean one on cleaning, and all sea brim. Fish there, I want to be brave. Means me go in cry. You only need to be on a one case of bar. Me give this over near the open. You dear, your bamu bapa, your bamu baby pa. You give this a beba there.
Hello guys, welcome back. If you are just tuning in, don't worry, you haven't missed at all. The discussion is yet to commence, and as quickly as possible, let me introduce my seasoned panelists for tonight. But before I quickly do that, let me acknowledge my sponsors, which are Authentic Sales, Taylor the Cobbler, Afranis Cuisine, and Jody's Kitchen. These are amazing companies, or should I say amazing businesses that have been with us through it all. We thank you so much for sponsoring our program each and every Friday. And also, if you are a business out there and you'd also want to sponsor us, our doors are always widely opened. You may contact any of our producers, and then voila, everything will be sorted out. Okay, so I also want to say a very big thank you to my producers for always making our Friday evening very splendid. So a very big thank you to Mr. Seth Addy in Germany and Mami Amma Rosie in London. You have always worked tirelessly to make sure that our shows are always splendid and on point. We thank you so much. All right, so quickly, let me try and then make it as snappy as possible. Let me introduce my guest for tonight. Today promises to be very, very exciting. So tonight, we have with us some seasoned panelists. And yes, I always try to choose my words very rightly because, you know, your choice of words actually describe exactly what you are saying. And tonight, I say seasoned because these are people who have actually had a touch of today's topic. Okay, they are not just going to talk out of the blue, but they've had experiences when it comes to leadership. Okay, so when I talk about seasoned panelists, I'm saying that because pertaining to today's topic, that's the dynamics of student leadership. Both guests that we have tonight are a perfect description, or should I say, a perfect embodiment of the leadership code we came, we saw, and we conquered. They have been in student leadership positions, and they have come to understand and identify with the dynamics involved. So tonight, they will share with us their personal narratives as well as their experiences, so that if you aspire to lead someday in your small group, in your community, or even at the national front, you are already geared for the task ahead. And even if your daughter, your son, your colleague, or a friend aspires to lead someday, you can coach him or her appropriately from the little tips that you will take from today's discussion. Okay, so when I talk about dynamics, I'm talking about the representation of women in politics, interest of students and their participation in leadership, the politics involved in student leadership, the benefits, the challenges, and every other area with which you may ask your questions. After this careful explanation, let me quickly introduce to you Mr. Nana Ajiman. Okay, he's also called Derek Nana Ajiman or Derek Osei Ajiman. You know, I call him with different names. So Derek is a UK-based Ghanaian, popularly known as Crespo the Poet or MC Crespo. He's the CEO of Crest Consult, and he also works with the Challenge TRG group in the UK. Before leaving Ghana, he was working with EIB Network, that's GH1 TV and Ago TV, as an assistant line producer for Duvet and Tales. He is currently holding a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from the University of Ghana Business School. He began his MCN in school, whereas he was holding the position of organizer for the Public Administration and Health Service Students Association, Legon. Eric Nanajima, you are welcome to Empowerment Our Show.
Thank you very much, Joyce. Onhenewaa, Kwapong. Yeah, it's very, I feel very honored to get this opportunity to speak to your lovely viewers. I've been waiting for this moment, and I think the time is right. The time is right for us to just have a very nice discussion today. Just try and empower somebody today and just share our experience with your viewers. So thank you for having me today.
We are very, very much grateful to have you as well, Derek Nanajiman Crespo. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
You're welcome.
So our second panelist for tonight is in the person of Rashad Abdul Razak. He was the SRC Organizing Secretary at TI Ahmadiyya, the head of Projects Committee, University of Ghana, Accra City Campus, SRC. He was also the SRC General Secretary in the year 2016-2017. He was a Senate member for Nooks in the year 2016 and 17. He was also the delegate for USAG 2016-2017, as well as the Ghana East District President for the National Service Personnel Association and the Greater Accra Regional Vice President and the Acting Regional President for the National Service Personnel Association. So he has a tall list of experiences, and tonight he's going to discuss this topic with us. You are welcome, Abdul Razak Rashad.
Thank you very much, and a lovely good evening to your listeners and viewers. I'm glad, and it's a privilege to be here.
Okay, it's a privilege to have you as well, and we hope to have a very interesting and educative program or discussion with you. You are very much welcome.
Sure.
So today I'm very, very much excited. You're welcome. Thank you as well. I'm very, very much excited to identify with such people because way back in school, as they were in leadership position, I was also, funny enough, when Derek was the organizing secretary for the Public Administration and Health Service Students Association, Legon, I happened to be the general secretary of the same association. And when Razak was also the acting president for the Greater Accra NASPA, I happened to be the Women's Commissioner of NASPA Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly. That's NASPA CCMA. And also way back in school, I was in the same, SRC with Razak Rashad. Whilst he was the secretary of the SRC, I was the clerk to the SRC. I was also the PRO to the University of Ghana Parliament House, Accra City Campus. And I was also the clerk to, so many positions. Let me just end it here. So I'm very, very excited that tonight, a group of leaders, we have once again met, and then we are here to share our experiences with people out there concerning what leadership is, concerning the dynamics of leadership. And I'm super, super excited tonight. Let's quickly zoom into the substantive and in-depth discussion of today's topic. So let me quickly find out from you, Rashad. With regards to your upbringing, you know, there's this saying that some people say leaders are born, others say leaders are made. Okay, so let me find out from you, how was your upbringing like when it comes to leadership? Did you come from a home where, you know, you had people who were older than you that had occupied leadership positions, or you were naturally born a leader? And also, I want to find out from you, with the home you came from, did they support you pursuing all these your leadership endeavors vis-a-vis academics? Did you have a family that was in
All right.
support of all this? Because we have some parents that are of a very firm standpoint that as you are going to school, you shouldn't engage in politics and all that kind of thing. It should be solely your books. So how was your upbringing like with respect to all that I've mentioned?
All right. Thank you very much. Personally, I believe that some leaders are born and some are created. Because if you look at the qualities people bring to bear, you realize that some of the qualities are innate, but some are things you have to. So personally, even if you are a natural born leader, there are still some qualities that you have to learn growing up. So back from home, of course, we've always had certain people in some political positions that we looked up to, even within student leadership. Even though personally, my parents were not really so involved in politics and then leadership, they've always urged us on. Because there are a few times where I would call them and tell them I'm contesting for a position, and then not only do they help to fund my campaign, but they call every now and then to.
Okay, unfortunately, Rashad's line has dropped. So if my producers could, okay. So we have Nanajiman here to stand in the gap. I'm sure in the appropriate time, Rashad's line would come back and then we would continue with his discussion, with his question. Okay, so Nanajiman, we also want to find out from you, how has your upbringing been? Did you have your parents supporting your endeavors with regards to leadership, or you had to convince them to be able to enter into such, you know,
Yeah,
position?
to be honest, neither my mother or father has anything that has to do with leadership history. But I
Okay.
think leadership is something that with me is innate, right from infancy, from the time we used to play football with our friends. I always wanted to be the captain, even though I wasn't a good player. So if I'm going to buy the football and just decide who to play and who not to play, I was ready to do that. So I think from my childhood and growing up, I've always wanted to be somebody who wants to lead. So I think with me, it's me just deciding to be a leader among my peers and in anywhere I find myself.
Wow. That's interesting. So,
Yeah.
right, you know, we have this when we're kids, they used to say that the person that buys the ball is the
Well,
one that
yeah, yeah,
decides
yeah.
how to
You
play
know,
them.
it's always something like I just want to be the one calling the shots. So
Okay.
it's something with me. Even though people we see it as like in our local they think that like, oh yeah, guy and that kind of thing. You know, I'm naturally an extrovert. I'm somebody who wants to be seen. I'm somebody who wants to be the one like, it has a little bit of fame in it. The advantage that comes with it, we didn't know it was going to shape us to
Yeah.
when we grow, but right from infancy, that's what we've been doing. That's what we've been aspiring to do, to always take the mantle, to always score the shot, to always just let people direct, at least just be the one paddling the canoe. Yes. Why, if it can be somebody, why not me? That's my mentality from childhood. That's what I would say.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So we also want to find out from you that how did you enter into student politics? Were you were you sponsored? You know, we have people that were sponsored during our days from the national parliament and all that. Were you sponsored, or you just came out one day and decided to aspire for that position?
You know, luckily, most of the positions that I went for, apart from in senior high school, were from class prefect, where I had people contesting with me. And when I became the library prefect for Anglican Senior High School, that one too, I never had anybody competing with me. And even when I came to the University of Ghana as an organizing secretary, nobody also come. I never had anybody to compete with me, you know. So sometimes all the position that I've held in life, I think I never got sponsored. I got it on a silver platter, let me be honest, because I was always strategic. I look at the position where, okay, fine, there are people that when you're going to contest with them, you know, obviously you're going to lose. And that's how I always brand myself to be in my, when it comes to student leadership. I always go for something that I make it so easy to get. So
Oh,
yeah, with me, but for some friends that I know, they were sponsored, and even myself had to sponsor them. I remember like one of my friends who happens to be the secretary for the Commonwealth Hall. So I was like, "Babe, go." That's because at that level it's very intense, and you need sponsors.
yes.
You were once in Legon, and you know that when it comes to student leadership, is the ish. Like it's not something for the poor. So if you are not having the resources, you should get some people or people who are ready and willing to just put in some money for you, or else you're gonna lose. That's the real truth.
Okay.
But for me, I would say I've always got easy. You know the story behind it, so
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. So that's so true. Way back in school, you know, when it comes to student politics, a lot of financial commitment goes into it.
yeah,
Don't you think one way or the other, it's a negative, you know, it deters people from entering into politics because people may have the qualities, but they may not have that financial backing. Okay. And
yeah,
then that's also one of the main reasons why we have a lot of our political, or should I say, our political figures from the national level
mhm,
trying to invade into our student politics. And sometimes it gets to an extent that it becomes very muddy.
yeah.
So, what's your take on that?
Now, I think when it comes to our student leadership, we have to restructure it. That's where all the corruption starts because the position is something that people go in there. There are people who are very honest people who just want to get the position and work hard. But you know, to get to that position, you need help from people. Once
Yes.
these people help you, there's nothing like a free lunch. So if people are helping you, it means they want something in return.
Everything.
And that one is really going to tie your hands for you to do the kind of good job you wanted to do. You understand? So it's going to affect us, and it has affected us as a country, and even not at the student level, even at the national level. And that is why Ghana is where we are, because at the end of the day, this kind of thing breeds corruption. Because once you have sponsors, I think people who will be given leadership position, it should be something that, okay, it should be based on the person's skills and abilities, and not because the person has money. And we are also to be blamed. This draw my attention to fix yourself. This kind of thing that's really going on, where um when people want position, they have to spend so much that when they get the position, they now think about themselves. They use the resources that they have to use for the betterment of the country to just enrich themselves, because I've lost a lot. Who wants to lose in life? Once I spend a lot to get something, once I get the position, I have to find any dubious means to get my money back or pay the people who invested in my project. So I think it's really a bad practice. And but is it something that is not something that is gonna be out of a kind of leadership, because people also feel like, okay, fine, this is the time for me to get something. So if you want this kind of position, give me something. so that I'll give you what you want. I don't care about the qualities you have. I don't care about the ambitions you have for our country or our school. I don't care about the good things that or the things on your portfolio or what you've told us that you can do and cannot do. We don't care about that. The whole issue is that okay, what is in for me today? And that is where we get it wrong. Because at the end of the day, people are naturally good, but they don't have the money, or they might not be able to convince people, or because they stand so firm that okay, fine. If I know that okay, this is a person that even if I put in money or resources, at the end of the day, he's not willing to do any bad deals or anything, I'm not going to sponsor the person. I'll sponsor somebody that I can feel like I'll have my way with him and channel my resources and my money to that kind of person. So at the end of the day, we end up not getting good leaders in our schools and in our country and at the national level as a whole.
Precisely so. So that buttresses this question that I have for you. Would you say that with regards to all these financial commitment that comes in,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people should they, would you advise that they would affiliate themselves to a particular national politics or a particular national party in order to be sponsored?
Now, when you get to the university level,
Mm-hmm.
it has to do with, especially at University of Ghana, we have the
Remote
team and
testing and all that.
yes,
Yes. Yes.
where once you decide to go for any of the top position, we have to know where you belong to.
Wrong.
You
Exactly.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that thing do not leave an educational system, then I wouldn't advise anybody going for that kind of position not to associate, because you will lose. Let's face the fact. Yes, because make we've made that kind of at the university level has to do with MPP NDC. So okay, fine. Once two people are aspiring for a position, and these people want to know who belongs to us, and
Yes.
people who want to know who is for us. Okay, now because at that stage, imagine going for campaign on University of Ghana campus. Joyce, you need a car, you need a team, you
Mm-hmm.
need to feed people. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So
Yes.
it's not joke. It's not for people with the 1,000 CDs. It's not a 1,000 CDs job. You can't use 1,000 CDs to win election on University of Ghana. Even your posters alone for Commonwealth Hall, let alone Biney. Look at, so you
That
need money.
reminds that reminds me of the mafia that sometimes it goes on our campuses. Sometimes you
Uh-huh.
post your flyers, then the next day it's ripped off, and you
Yes,
have to incur another huge sums of money to reprint all those flyers and repost them because you have to be visible. So
you
if you don't have
understand.
the money and they are ripped off, how do you become visible for
Mm-hmm.
people to know your face, for people to identify with your name, your face, and
Mm-hmm.
then vote for you on the day of election? So I
Yeah.
mean, the dynamics are really many, and I'm hoping that people who are listening to us that are aspiring for positions would at least learn from some of these cues that we are bringing out with regards to student leadership on our campuses. You may proceed, Crespo.
Yeah, and even to the operation leaders, it's so funny that some of us, okay, before saying people could get their position, you have to see us, you have to give us. Why will I stop? Quit lectures and follow you every day without getting anything. You
Anything.
understand? You need to build a team. When a team are expecting you to cater for basic necessities like food, drink, t-shirt, souvenirs, look at the things you're going to give out to. The whole advertising aspect requires that you need funding. So when you're not coming from a home where your dad or your mom can provide that kind of thing, you get this political parties, people from both party coming to you. Okay, we want to help. We know that you are part of us, and it starts from day one. At that kind of level, you have to belong to an association, either Tescon or Tain. So from there, we already know you. And even getting that nod to stand for an SRS president for University of Ghana, um, the political party has to also decide that okay, we are bringing this person. And that is where there are always issues where somebody that the party doesn't support, they bring it, the issue of our time, I think we experienced a whole lot of this kind of politics, party members, their influence, they coming on campus, joining presidential aspirants, going to hall by hall for campaign. So Joyce, like at that level, to be honest, where we've got into, I don't think anybody can just win a position without the influence of these political
Political parties.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So I think Abdul Razak is back on the line. Let me ask him a few questions and I'll come back to you, Nanajima and Crespo. Okay. So Abdul Razak, I think before your line dropped, you were speaking on leadership as to whether they are born or they are made, and with regards to your leadership and your upbringing. So you may proceed on that, and then I'll ask my follow-up question. Okay, unfortunately, Razak's line is not, his internet is not acting in his favor. We apologize for that. And, some of these things are absolutely out of our control. And we duly and we respectfully apologize. Okay, so Nanajiman, you may proceed. Let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Before Razak came on the line, we were talking about political influence as well as the financial commitment that comes with regards to sponsoring elections, okay? And with regards to these things determining your chances of winning or losing.
Yeah.
So a follow-up question, if you do not have such backing, yes, we've already established that fact that you are likely to lose the election. It will take extra effort.
Yeah,
Would
great.
that go on to say that anyone that enters into these political positions have something at the back of their minds that they want to achieve? Would you say that most of these leaders are self-seeking, or politics is more about what I'm going to gain, and also those following you, it's more about what I'm also going to receive? Is that usually the case? And how do you justify that? Do you see it as right or wrong based on your position?
In the end, it's not right. Like, because when it happens like that, it means that people who are very competent and could have done the job, but without the support of these kind of political parties or the sponsors, I think their dream wouldn't come into light. And I think at the end of the day, we are not going to get the best person to hold on to the mantle that was going to do an amazing job. So it is bad. But um there's this saying that, like, if you can't bear the heat, you really get out of the kitchen. You understand? Right from day one, if you
Yeah.
want to, let's say you have this dream of becoming, let's say, an SRC president or a student leader, okay, you have to do your research and find out how to get to that kind of position. Sometimes you have to follow the procedure for you to get to your destination, even though you don't want to be like, okay, I want to go on my own, I don't want any support, I don't want any finances, but I have just my dream and I expect people to just see that and give me the mantle. Joyce, it's not only about you, it's about what is supposed to be done. How can you get there? So fine, just associate yourself with a party and just get the support. I know, because let's face to the fact, let's be honest, there are certain things, miracles and grace, and they work. But what is on the ground is on the ground. Because at the end,
Najima,
Joyce,
you see, the truth of the matter is that sometimes, people don't have any political ambitions. They are coming in with a genuine heart to serve.
yeah.
So in such a case, what happens to such people? Should they be
No,
denied that opportunity because they have no other option than to get affiliated to a particular political party?
no, such people shouldn't give up on their dream. There is no harm in trying, okay? But if I still want my dream to come true, there are sometimes, you see, you cannot change the dynamics. okay, how certain things work. But these people can still go on and pursue their dream and just come out that and sell out what they can do. But at the end of the day, it then depends on we the people, we the students. If it's not fair that somebody who is lacking that kind of financial support, who is lacking that kind of political backing, shouldn't be able to get that kind of mantle to be leaders or student leaders. You get it. It's very wrong, because at the end of the day, we do not get the right people to take part to hold the mantle or to lead the students,
To
or
them front,
yeah,
yes.
you understand. So it is wrong. To be honest, it is wrong. Such people can still continue and pursue their dream. But I think when you get to that kind of level, you need support. Let's not take it out. Fine, you are good. Get the right people who believe in your dream and support you. Even if it shouldn't be maybe a political party. Be able to match your competitors. It's something that we can never oh, this guy, he's so good, he's so competent, he has good literacy skills, communication skills, very innovative initiative, and you cannot really afford your posters, your marketing, your souvenirs. At the end of the day, you're going to lose, and we will lose you. So try and find the right way to be able to get there so that you can really give out and serve well, even though they are going to come with other obstacles. But at the end of the day, you'll still be able to do good. So those people shouldn't give up. They should try. Sometimes it's not all the time that those people being backed by political parties win election. We've heard during our time there were people that we heard that they have support of the youth organizer, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, after the election day, we realized that they didn't win, and they didn't make good decisions. You understand? So they shouldn't give up on their dream. They should just give it a try. But if there are opportunities for help, they should just grab it.
Yes. Okay. Actually, yes. It's not everyone that gets affiliated to a particular political party. I remember when I was running for the NASPA Women's Commissioner, it became a problem because before that, all the other positions I had held were not too political. But when it got to that point, a little politics wanted to, come to play. But then I managed to, still,
Yeah,
maneuver
just
my way
find your
through
way out.
political process.
Uh-huh.
And God being so good, I came out victorious. But I came out victorious without the backing of any political party. But then this goes higher to when I was standing for the secretary for the Graduate Students Association of Ghana, Legon chapter. The politics was worse than I'd ever encountered. And
Yeah.
I don't know how the outcome of the election would have been, whether it would have gone in my favor or not. But I mean, it got to a point follow, and you don't identify with a particular political party, you end up being very trouble. And then you have a very tough, fight, a very tough, should I say, a very tough competition. Because when it comes to funding, when it comes to even getting people to support you, when it comes to even people voting for you, some people, no matter what you do, they'll vote on political lines. There's no way
Yeah,
they'll
sure.
vote on you are
Yeah,
capable
sure.
of doing. So at the grassroots level, it was very, very challenging. And I didn't want to identify with a political party at that point because of some of the things I do, especially with regards to women and children activism and all that. But it got to a point where I think if the election had gone on, I would have eventually had to side with a particular political party to make it. I really can't tell though, but looking at how the game was being played at a point, that would have probably been the situation.
That
So I
was
don't
what
know
I was
if it
saying.
came in for my good or for my bad. Well, I don't know if my chances would have also gone in my favor as it went for the NASPA elections, where I might have gone without identifying with a political party and won. I really can't tell, but anyway, we leave it to
Yeah,
God.
so it all boils down to the fact that you shouldn't just give up. If you are lacking that kind of support, just give it a try. Just do your all. Maybe sometimes your ability to convince the delegates, or even your ability to convince the student front, might maybe go in your favor. So, but like you said, at that point you would choose because the heat, you feel it, and once you want it, you have to really play or dance to the tune.
Okay. Interesting. So Nana Jima, looking at all these ups and downs when it comes to entering into such positions, sometimes, especially with a genuine interest to serve,
Yeah.
okay, you know, it happens that so many things might make you want to draw back. And I'm sure you probably might have had your one or two experiences. I want to find out from you what actually motivated you, what gave you that drive to still pursue such ambitions and not to, you know, draw your hand off the plow. What actually motivated you?
You know, like I said, that from the very day we set our foot to, for me, when I set my foot in an institution or anywhere I find myself, I start playing my cards from day one.
Yeah.
That okay, fine, this is my target. So at the time when we got to the third year in the university, I already decided that okay, fine, I wanted to be the organizing secretary and decided to play my cards well, just make sure that I was marketable enough for that kind of position. You see, you when for example a brand that has been able to do maybe market itself very, Coca-Cola will always be Coca-Cola because of the standard they've got into, because they know what people get when they take in Coca-Cola, and there has been a generational brand for a long time. So I wasn't basically scared of anybody who was going to contest with me at that kind of level, because I knew that okay, I had a little bit of popularity. I was an extrovert. I was somebody that people in my department thought that I had the interest of the department I had. So when it was time that okay, people even thought I was going to go for the president for the department, but at
Yeah.
that time we had a whole lot of side stuff, and we just wanted to, and basically, because of our maiden edition, you remember when we took the position, we decided to organize the first big
Before we,
celebration, and it was
yeah.
very tough. So I
Uh-huh.
felt like, okay, if this was going to be a dream come true, I think I should be the one who has to be the organizing secretary. And because I knew that it was a tough thing, and I knew I had the mantle, I had the what it takes to make that kind of dream come true for the department. So basically, nothing could stop me, because it was a day one, something that I decided when I get to this kind of level, I was going to go for this position, and I started doing my homework for any challenge or anything that was going to come up. So I wasn't surprised me getting that kind of position.
Position. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, this brings nostalgic feelings and moments. I
Mm.
remember how stressful it was to organize the PESA Week celebration, which now it has become a legacy where
Yeah.
subsequent leaders and generations are now holding on to. So now we have past leaders, we have people in leadership positions that are networking, or should I say, coming back to
Mhm.
reconnect with their roots and to network, to engage with them, to discuss issues with them, to show them the way and all that. So it's been a legacy that I'm always very proud of, because
Yeah,
I
and you did an amazing job as my
it's
secretary at that time. It was very hectic, and
very,
because
very,
it was just the maiden edition, we didn't know how it was gonna go.
yes,
But I
and with
think
the
we did a
apathy,
great job. Yeah.
yes, with the apathy with regards to student patronizing such programs, it was
Mm-hmm.
one of our greatest fears, but
Fear. Yeah, I remember.
God being so good, indeed, we came, we saw, and we conquered, and
Yeah,
we give
sure.
all the glory to God. Okay,
Amen.
so I have another question for you. I want to find out from you, what are the most important attributes you would say of successful leaders? So if anyone is listening to us and the person wants to be identified as successful, what are the attributes that you think the person should exhibit?
Okay, as a successful leader, at the end of your tenure of leadership, there should be something substantial that even when you leave office, everybody is going to say that you did a good work. So once you're still in office, we cannot judge you. But after you are done, people should look back and say that, okay, this guy leading this thing was able to be successful because, for example, let's just use that the PISA week as an example. Even not just after bringing something new, which is an initiative. Apart from that, with the money that we were able to get, we left the past decessors
Yeah.
enough money for future projects. So at the time when we were leaving school, as leaders, we realized that, okay, fine, we created an account for them, and the money that we had toil and sweat and gotten that kind of money, we left it behind for them. So we left out, like we left as leaders that we felt like, okay, we've done an amazing job, and we've left the department with something that even if 20 years from now, when I go back to the University of Ghana, I would say that, okay, fine, I organized this kind of maiden edition for this department. And yes, it's something that you have to look back. And as a leader, your ability to put all together your team and make sure that everybody performs efficiently and effective is something that is also going to help you.
Yeah.
So, moreover, a leader, your integrity level. At the end of your tenure of office, people should be able to like, oh, this guy, there is no kind of dubious or allegations that can be associated with his governance or tenure of office. And when that thing happened, I think you stand the point of being termed as somebody that you did a great job.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
That's so, so true. You know, when it comes to, should I say, African leadership, most of the times when people are leaving office, they, should I say, leave the account to barely zero
Mm-hmm.
amount. And then even sometimes they leave office with debt for subsequent generations to inherit. And
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the key things that you have highlighted, so that even people in national offices should learn from. Okay, when
Mm-hmm.
you are a leader, when you are leaving office, make sure that you leave office very clean. Don't leave debt for other batch of leaders to inherit. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a very proud legacy that we left as well, that we made sure that in leaving office we left an amount of money for other crop of leaders to also benefit from and use to run the organization until they are also able to gather more funds and resources to support their own projects. So these are some of the basic and key things that we should learn as leaders.
And
Okay, and
moreover, if you can remember, we changed the identity of the department
yes,
right from getting ourselves a new logo and
yes,
making sure that, okay, fine, we've come to stay, we are capable of doing amazing stuff. So what you leave behind at the end of the day is what people are going to look at and judge you with. And I
yes,
think that's what every leader should do. So I love somebody like Paul Kagame of Rwanda. Amazing man. Sometimes I
very
just want to
amazing.
believe, like at least if we had even this kind of man, five Paul Kagame in Africa, I think we'll be saying a different story, and the Western wouldn't be laughing at us, because today I just look at the kind of thing he has left behind. That is what we should expect from leaders, right? From at least we should leave predecessors, we should leave posterity with something that when we are not even there, they can just look at it and be like, okay, fine. Once upon a time, there were this person. So basically, that's what I have to say with respect to that kind of question.
Great. Great submission there. I think Abdul Rashad Razak is on the line. So we'd want to also engage him a bit, and then we'll come back to you, Nanajiman Crespo.
Okay.
But then in the meantime, let me take a few comments. If my producers could kindly project some of the comments, some of the questions, we would gladly want to read them. And also, if you are listening to us, don't hesitate to send your questions and your contributions in the comment section. It's a delight for us to read your comments. It's a delight for us to attend to your questions and try to answer them as best as we could. Okay, so this from Waylina, and she's saying, I'm watching you live at Kaswa. God bless you, and you are looking so beautiful. Thank you so much, Lena. Thank you for the compliment. Okay, I saw a few more. Aram Teddyson says, NASPA ready to serve. Indeed, NASPA ready to serve. Tonight brings a lot of nostalgic moments for me, and I know that it brings same for all other student leaders that are watching us, as well as my panelists for tonight. We would want you all to take a cue from today's discussion. If you want to aspire for a position, if you have anyone that wants to aspire for a position, these are key things that you wouldn't learn from any textbook, but you will get from first-hand experiences from people that have occupied such spaces. So this is from Nana Akom, and she says, nice program. I'm watching you live from Ghana inside Gumwa East. You are looking good. Joyce Onhenewaa. Thank you so much, Nana. Keep supporting, keep watching us. This and every Friday at 6 p.m. Okay, I saw a few more others. This from Patience Darko, and she says, good evening, Onhenewaa. You are looking great, and I'm loving your show on YouTube. Your show looks more organized and always good to watch. Very educative. I am watching you live from Germany. Thank you so much, Patience Darko. I appreciate all these compliments, and it gives me the courage, it gives me the joy to always do much, much better. So you would always enjoy our program. Keep supporting us. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and kindly invite your friends to also subscribe and watch us this and every Friday at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, so this from Obapa Ifwa Hagan. And she says, you're looking nice, dear. Thank you so much. I'm flattered. This from Christopher Wisdom Penu, and he says to Derek, what are some of the major challenges you've encountered on your student leadership journey, and how did you handle it, or how did you handle them? So this from Christopher Wisdom Penu. He wants to find out some of the challenges that Derek encountered. Okay, so we would answer those questions, but I think Rashad is on the line. So let's quickly hear from Rashad, after which we would answer your question. Rashad, you are welcome once again. And we are so sorry that you're not working in your favor. So sorry.
Yeah. I think I have network challenges, but
yes.
I'm sure it's far better now.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And
thank you so much.
Regarding my road to leadership, it actually started at a very early age. And then right from primary school, I had always wanted to become leadership role. When the teacher comes to be the class captain, sometimes I'll just put up my hand. Sometimes my own colleagues will just point me out, because I believe that one of the importance of being a good leader is for others to be able to identify the leadership qualities in you. So right through my leadership, journey, almost every position and then even though I always have it in mind, but they walk to me and then tell me that, look, maybe there's this election coming up in this association or something. We feel that you are somebody that can take up the mantle, the leaders. Yeah. Even with my national service association, I actually didn't want to contest because I realized somebody from my institution was also contesting. So I had some close friends I had made, and then I told them that this person is equally contesting to become president. But most of them said they would prefer me from our.
Oh, we missed on that. Okay, I think Rashad is reconnecting. You may proceed, Rashad.
Thank you. So I took up the challenge, and then because people called on me to serve, leadership was all about serving. So people called on me to serve, and then I came to serve. So even moving on from the district to the regional, the same way, a lot of people had come to me. Almost all the presidential candidates actually wanted me to be on their team. I was going for president. Later on, I opted to go for vice president. And almost all the presidential candidates wanted me to be on their team. And most of them openly said that the only way they could win was for me to be on the same team with them because of what they knew I was bringing on board. So I believe that when you are a leader and then nobody is following, then you are not even a leader. Because once the leader is moving forward and you turn back and you don't see anybody, then there is a problem. So that is one of the importance of being a leader, and also charisma. I also believe that courage counts. I heard Derek talk about the infiltration of, national politics in our student front. And that is a very, very worrisome trend. Personally, myself, on Facebook, I've spoken about it a lot. I've spoken about it to a lot of my colleagues in MOOCs and USAC. And then, to be honest with you, currently, as it stands now, the student leadership is at its bottom lowest. I don't think it can go lower than it is now, because everything that student leadership has always wanted or they fought against, now that is what the current leaders, most of them, are doing. So you realize that now it is more like a stepping stone. So leadership is no longer about serving, but now a stepping stone to get into mainstream politics. Especially if you look at most of the associations and the unions we have, right from SRC, NUCS, NASPA, GAPS, all of them. If you look at the past 6-7 years, almost all the executives from these associations are now either communication members of NDC or MPP. So realize that when people tell you they want to contest in any of these associations, it's not because of any genuine interest to serve, but rather because they just want to either hold a position for the sake of it, or because they want to get into national politics, which is a very worrisome trend. It is because if you look at all the challenges you are facing today, some of them could just be solved by a mere letter or a mere demonstration, a mere just coming together to dialogue. But that is not what they are interested in. So you realize that even at the SRC level, anytime the students are faced with any challenge, then you see most of the schools even have preferences. The dean of students, the provost and all of that, they have preferences. They want people they can control. So the main aim for them there is not, of course, to revolt or cause rebellion, but to fight for the interest of the student. So if you are there to fight for the interests of management or other stakeholders and not the people you represent, then that is not leadership. Be it NUC, USAC, NASPA, SRC, all of them, it's almost impossible to genuinely find anybody that is there truly to serve. And then many a times you realize that even when it comes to the issues of finance, a lot of times you ask them and they are only interested in what they could gain, aside the politics that they want to get involved in. Most of them are looking at recently we all saw the budget, the alleged, let me use the word alleged, budget that was released on social media, and it was purported to be from the KNUST SRC. The budget is even so huge that I even wonder if some of our national institutions have such budgets for a year. You understand?
Yes.
But the problem that leadership today is facing is the fact, stemming from the fact that there hasn't been enough orientation, and most of them haven't followed real leaders to know what leadership is about and what they should be doing, and they don't even have the passion. Now, the funny thing is, those who genuinely have the passion and want to serve are relegated to the background. Some of them, even out of fear of being victimized, they don't even turn up to even contest. I've seen people where I spoke to them personally and told them that, look, I think you are good. You should serve as the president for NASPA or for SRS. And they'll just smile and tell you, nah, I don't want to get myself in that mess. You understand? So that is the genuine problem. If people that you feel have innate leadership skills, people that we feel are born leaders, people that we feel are well-trained and well-groomed, are shying away from taking these positions, then you are left with anybody at all who just fill a position. And that is what we are facing currently.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
In fact,
so it's that as leaders, yes, please.
Rashad, you may proceed. You may continue.
Yeah.
In fact,
so I believe that as leaders, we must.
Yes, you go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
If you could repeat what you said.
No, I was saying you can go ahead. You can flow.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So what I want us to do is, the first solution is we have to rebrand all these associations. Some of them must be dissolved. Like there is no negotiation, and there must be a reorientation. You see, the reason why these politicians and these, school management want to be part of the election process is to, get what they are getting today. So the only people that lose are the students or the people that we seek to lead. So in any event, if you are supposed to lead somebody, and then the people that you are supposed to be helping, and the funny thing is they don't even realize, okay, most of them don't even realize that, the people they themselves are pushing for leadership are not people that are going to help them. And some know. Now, all like Derek rightly said, all what people do now is to just rely on the fact that we belong to the same political party. And that is the worst of it all. They don't even consider religion, ethnicity, although comes to play. But what they look at most is political parties. And then they don't know that is the very basis for which some of these associations were formed, so that they can fight against these things. And now they have exposed all of them. And I feel that they have to do very good rebranding, very good reorientation, and then they have to get serious people to really talk to them and then have serious conversations about these things. Because if we cannot find a way to come out of this mud, then trust me, then we have a long way to go. Back then, those of you that have been following Nooks and USAC for a long time,
Yes.
look at the days of some of the people we see in Parliament today. When they come out to speak, governments are trembling. They were always trying. But now, anytime the politicians need anything, all they do is pick a phone and call whoever is the Nooks president, because they are there to do their dirty jobs. So now, every time you see a new communique, it is endorsing a government policy, whatever it is, be it negative or positive. For the past 8 years or more, anytime you see any Nooks communique, it's just there to endorse one thing or another. That ends it. You never see them having any pure advocacy or any strong leadership or anything. They just don't do basically anything, and that is very worrying. If we had very good leaders, very good student leaders.
Okay, so as we read out Rashad's profile, most of us realize that he's had so much experience when it comes to student leadership. In fact, he's risen through the ranks from way back in the institutions through to NASPA. So he's had so much experiences that he's also shared with us. Unfortunately, his network didn't permit him to land, but I'm sure in due time he would come back onto the program and he will continue with his submission. So we have with us Derek Nanajiman on the line once again. And if my producers could project the question from Christopher Penu for us with regards to leadership. I think Christopher directed the question to Derek. Okay. There's one he directed to Derek before this. I think I would want to read that and then I would go on to this. Okay, so Christopher Wisdom Penu says, to Derek, what are some of the major challenges you've encountered on your student leadership journey, and how did you handle it, or how did you handle them? What are some of the major challenges?
Joyce, like as student leaders, definitely there's going to be issue. One of the key things is combining academics with you also being a leader. Unlike your fellow mates, all that they had to think about is their books. I remember those days, even at the secondary school level, when it's time for preps, that is where SRC will be meeting.
Yes.
And the day they will fix the time for the meeting for SRC or student leaders will be maybe the next day you'll be having a test or an exams or a quiz to write. But because you've taken the mantle to be a student leader, you have to be present at the meeting. And even when, like at the time where we went around, you remember you were part of this. So we are walking around East Legon to visit one doctor for finance for her to finance our project and other stuff. Our mates were in the class learning, and who knows whether what they were taught on that day was the one coming into exams or something like that. We had lost big time, but yes, still it's something that we decided to do. So it's our ability to combine academics and also our leadership duties all those are the things that I think were one of the challenges, because at that time I was the kind of person that I never want to miss class. So there were times where I had to miss class because of leadership position. It was a very difficult moment for me. And yeah, I think I'll say something like that. For that one, it was a big deal with me.
Let me quickly chip in this. I
Mhm.
remember, way back when
Mhm.
when we were in the university,
Yeah,
I was actually occupying, or should I say, I was holding three major
I
positions.
know.
I was the clerk to the SRC, I was the secretary to the department, and I was the PRO to the student parliament house. And sometimes it got very overwhelming because, combining academics, combining project work, combining so many things with all these three leadership positions, it wasn't easy, to be
No,
honest.
I know
There
how
were
it feels.
times when we had to, what's the name? SLC will be having a sitting. At the same time, the next day or two, the Parliament House will be having a sitting. In fact, I was even part of the debate society. And
Yeah.
sometimes we'll be having debates, sometimes we have unaware debates, and then you have to represent. And you cannot afford to disgrace yourself either. Neither can you afford to also choose leadership positions solely focusing on your leadership and positions and then putting your education or your academics to the background. So it was a very tough challenge for me, but then God being so good, I was able to sail through. Because I remember even when we had to what's the name? Have vetting for those who will take over the position from us as
Yeah.
public
Yeah.
administration executives. I
Yeah.
remember SRC was also having a major program, and I was supposed to be on
Be
it.
there.
So
I
these
recall.
are some of the things that sometimes you go through a lot, and then sometimes you're like, "Hey, how did I get myself into this mess?" But then
But Joyce, the
surprisingly,
good thing
you're
is,
able to juggle all that and
yeah,
come out so strong. And these are some of the things that have benefited me today. We'll
yeah,
move
sure.
on to that. Some of the benefits of leadership. We'll move on to that so that people who are thinking that it's a waste of time to be in leadership in school, they will reorient their thinking and their minds.
Now, Joyce,
And
let me just chip in this.
Mhm.
It's in the end, it's going to be a good thing because it
Yeah,
helps you in the corporate environment where you
yeah.
take up big position. You have to multitask.
Multitasking, all that.
Yeah, so
Taking
at
about
that time, when you get to that kind of level, you
uh-huh.
feel like it becomes very easy because even at the time where you were not matured enough, you were still doing a lot of things at that time. We back in school, I was a leader, I had to go and do events, I had
Yeah.
to do a whole lot of stuff,
I
just like
know, right?
just like yourself. But we still came out victorious when it comes to academics. But
Yeah,
what that I would like to say is it always prepare you. It always prepare you for the big attacks ahead, even
yeah,
though it's going to be a big challenge at the incipient stage. But in the end, I think it's something that you're going to be proud of
yeah,
because that's where you start to let. That's what leadership is about. Ability to nurture you for greater stuff, ability to nurture you for bigger positions ahead. So the challenges that will come, and even with let me just chip in with this. One of my friend was going for a position. I think his friend also liked the same position, and up to date they are not talking because one of them told the other to step down so that he
wait,
could go, but he also feel like it's also my ambition. So there's always something to lose when it gets to that level. And with me, I remember I was supposed to go for the president, but at that time, Mark had told me that he wants to be the president. And to me, I felt like okay, fine, because my dream was to just bring that kind of initiation as to doing the first PSR week. I decided, okay, fine, let me just let him go and go for the organizing secretary. And once I'm still in the team, I'll still be able to make that kind of decisions.
yeah,
But it's just the title that is going to be different. So
different.
anyway, there are challenges, there are certain shots that you have to do, and at the end of the day, definitely you're not going to take it easy. Anybody who wants to take any leadership position, and also pressure like accountability. You remember after getting the money where Professor Bawali was expecting us that, okay, fine, the money that we've gone to raise ourselves, moreover, our professor wasn't expecting us to use that same money. He
Yeah,
wanted us to, and it helped us. It helped
yeah,
us not to use waste, like just misuse the
just
fund that we're
get
able to
into the
generate.
fun. Yes.
So those are the little challenges. It gives you headache, and how your projects are going to be successful or not was also a challenge. Trust me, the week the day before the event, the PESA week, in
Yes.
fact, I couldn't sleep because something that we have put up and we expected everything to go right. It could go wrong. It could have been a failure. People could have not turned up. The people couldn't have bought. You remember when we decided to sell souvenirs and T-shirts and other
Let
stuff
me
to
just
raise.
quickly mention this. I remember during that departmental week celebration, which
Yeah.
we are hearing as the Tempesa week,
Mm-hmm.
we actually decided to print some T-shirts and all that. People paid for the T-shirt very late, yet they
Mm-hmm.
expected us to deliver. And even the worst thing is that on the day of delivery, when we had, I think it was the next day that we were supposed to have the program, the launch
Program.
of the program.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the person that we gave the contract to, on his way to deliver the T-shirt, I don't know if you remember that
Yeah,
story,
I remember.
had a motor accident. He lost his life.
Yes,
And
I know.
how do you even, people are talking about loss of life here. You're not going to ask for your
Your
T-shirt.
T-shirts and your money. Those are challenging moments.
So many challenging moments, and your people will also think you've probably spent their money. I mean, how could you tell them that the person delivering the T-shirt has had an accident and has died? It's an unexpected situation, but you have
Yeah.
to make sure that these people are very much convinced and they wouldn't think that their monies have been invested wrongly into other ventures or they've been squandered by you. So these are some of the challenges, as you've rightly highlighted.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to us, I think some of these things you may come across them when you decide to aspire for any leadership position. But I'm sure you would one day sit back and remember this discussion and at least implement one or two of these things that we are actually talking about. So, Nana Jiman, if you don't have anything to say with regards
Mhm.
to the question I asked earlier,
Yeah, I'm done with
I
that.
have a question for you from one of our audience. So
Yeah.
that's from Christopher Wisdom Penu. He says, to Razak and Derek, I believe leadership is all about reproduction, unleashing more leaders. As past leaders, were you able to unleash into the system your own type of leaders, leaders who are identified with your style and principles of leadership? So he's talking more about succession.
Yeah.
So there is a succession plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are we able to have leaders that would take over from us and then, follow suit? Were we able to do that? That's
Okay.
what he
Yeah,
wants
yeah.
to
This just drew my attention to. You remember when we were doing the vetting
know.
for the roles, leader for the position,
Yeah.
and there was one guy who came in, and my question that I directed towards that kind of participant was to see whether he has the kind of trait that I think I have in me, even though sometimes it's very wrong to expect people to behave or act like you. It's good for people to also just bring out their own leadership style. But so with me, trust me, I handed over my position to somebody that I felt like, okay, he was also going to continue my legacy when it comes to the following year, when if supposed they're supposed to do the same kind of organize that kind of week celebration and that kind of thing. So to me, I decided to coach the person, because after I vetted the person and just gave the position to the person, before I left campus, I made sure that he was my friend, because I was also willing to also support even if I've left school, that kind of thing, and just train the person how we were able to do it, because I know everybody was praising us and it was a huge tax on them as to what they were going to do in the next year. So I decided to coach them, not take how we did it. I told them, okay, fine. I gave him all the contacts. I gave him all the principles. I gave him all the procedure to follow for him to be for him to be very successful in whatever position that they were holding. So I think we didn't take it away. For me personally, I didn't take my qualities away. I made sure that I impacted into them so that they could also become good and also get some kind of applaud, just like we did
Yes,
way back.
did. Yes, yes. And that sets me back to this question, and then this question sets me back to when we handed over And I think a year after, they actually called on us to, come and coach them. They called on
Yeah.
us to come and speak
Yeah.
to them, how they can also leave a legacy and all that. I quite remember I was in Cape at that time. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend that invitation, but you
I went.
guys in the stead, and then you
Yeah.
did fabulously well. And I would even want to say kudos to you.
Thank
That
you.
reminded me, your scenario reminded me of this particular incident. So this is also from patient Darko, and she says, Onhenewaa, please ask Derek, how will he measure the influence of partisan politics on student politics as the elections? So far, your program is doing well. Thank you so much, Patience Darko. So she wants to find out from us, how would you measure the influence of partisan politics on student politics?
To be honest, at the university level, if we cannot take that kind of partisan influence out of it. I remember a night before one of the lectures way back in 2017, we had political parties like members from both the NPP and the NDC coming to campus, and at that stage, it's really swift from the people's competency to where we belong as political parties. So it now becomes an MPP NDC thing, which is very bad, like I said, from my initial point of view. But the impact is very high. And if I'm to give a percentage for it, I think it's somewhere 60%. So if something is more than 60%, then you know that is a very high, it has high influence on the election day, because on the election day people are not thinking about people's competency. They are thinking about, oh, Phoebe is MPP, and oh, this guy at that time was NDC, and that kind of thing. So we go into the pools. We went to the pool not because of their competence. It's because, okay, the Samia Wukus, the Samija Fees, they are on campus campaigning for their people. So the whole thing changes from finding true or bringing out true leaders to supporting our political party. And you and I, Joyce, you know where you know that each and every individual on campus belongs to a political party. So at the end of the day, people be like, okay, if you allow this person to win, and this will be the people be holding position on campus and that kind of thing, and it is very bad. So as for the influence, it is very high at that kind of level. But for the junior high and the secondary level, I think it is very low, because at that time the influence of partisan is not felt as high as the university level, where whether you like it or not, you have to belong to one part of the political party, or it's not going to be a win for you, or the chances of winning is very, very, very minimal. Yeah, so that's what I would say.
Okay, that's interesting. And that's experience speaking right there. Okay, I don't know if I have any other comments. Okay, Abdul Razak is back on the line, and would want to hear from him briefly as well before his network drops once again. So, Abdul Razak, we would want you to proceed with your discussion. But I think there was a question for you before your line dropped. If my producers could project it. Nanajiman has answered his part of it and would want to hear Rashad's perspective on that. I think it was from Christopher Wisdom Penu. He threw a question to both Rashad and Derek Nanajiman.
Yeah, Joyce, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Okay, so Christopher was asking, he says, I believe leadership is all about reproduction, unleashing more leaders. As past student leaders, were you able to unleash into the system your own kind of leaders who are identified with your style and principles of leadership? So were you able to get
Okay.
people to succeed to toe the same line as you did?
To some extent, I would say yes, I did. Back in the secondary school, when I was the SRC organizing secretary, what we used to do in the SRC is that we had two positions called the Executives Without Portfolio. So every year, a group of executives must elect 2 executives without portfolio from the people that will replace you. So it means that if you are 6 executives in Form 4 or Form 3, you'll have to take 2 from the lesser forms, whether Form 2 or Form 1, so that they will join you as executives for you to train them to take over. So during that time, we took these 2 people, and I personally had 2 other guys I had on my team that were helping me with almost everything. At some point, they almost ran the SRC in the absence of my colleagues.
Yes.
Unfortunately, in the university, it wasn't like that because some of us didn't want it to look like we had interest. So
Yes.
in the university, I obviously didn't train anybody, neither did I back anybody for any position in the SRC, except the year after. I had somebody that I trusted, who was my junior in secondary school, contesting on Legon campus for SRC president. I believed in his vision, and then I, sort of met him a couple of times to help groom him. And also in the national service, amazingly, I was able to, train one lady who became the best executive for their time. And personally, up till now, I haven't met any other executive that is even close to her. Like, she was so outstanding. During our time as executives, funny enough, almost all of us were very good as NASPA executives. And all the regional executives, as fate would have it, we are all district presidents, with the exception of the secretary. All of us were presidents in our district. Kwapong was the president district, the president was the president. I was also a president. The financial secretary was the president for Shai Osudoku. So all the executives, regional executives, we were all district presidents, except the secretary, and we were all amazing. And then, to be honest with you, some of the things they did during the time we were executives, I wonder how they did them. They were very amazing people, very solid guys. Unfortunately, the year we left, we trained them all right. We helped them to become executives, but they all had their own ideologies, totally different from ours. So even though we tried coaching them, with the exception of the women's commissioner, I can vouch for, she was just outstanding. Like, she was so great to the extent that when she was contesting for national, I traveled with her across the length and breadth of this country. And almost every national service personnel then knew her name. She was that famous. A lot of other regional executives relied on her to even give information to their district executives. So to a large extent, I can say yes, I was able to, and even just last year, the executives that we had in NASPA, most of them took grooming from me. I met a lot of them on various occasions before they were elected. But unfortunately, mostly when they get there, some of them have other, ideologies. Aside 1 or 2 of them, I believed, were still up to the task, whom I'm very proud of up to these dates. The rest of them, I don't really know what changed when they got there. So I believe that some of the people we spoke to, some of the people we groomed, did very good jobs. And then one thing about leadership is leaving a legacy. Some of them have been able to leave legacies that even in some years to come, they'll still be proud of what they've done. But to be a leader who will just pass through the system without doing anything, I mean, that is something that, you have to think twice about. So I always advise people that if you want to get into leadership, take a pen and paper, write down your qualities or your abilities. Once you are done, you look at the position you want to, occupy, and then see if it matches. For instance, if you are not hardworking and rigorous and you want to be an organizing secretary, you face problems. Or if you are not very good in communication and you want to be a general secretary, you face problems. If you are not somebody that, is inclined to, the plight of women, and then you can empower women. If you want to be a women's commissioner, you face problems. So you look at your qualities and your abilities, and then you see what you can do before you even step into it. And once you do, that is the first stage. The second stage is finding equally good people to be on your team. Let me be honest with you, the crisis we are facing today mostly is because of the kind of people they have on their team. People are contesting NASPA president, looks president, and the people on their team is regional youth organizer for NDC,
constituency secretary for MPP and all of that. So they just look around them and then they take some family and friends who, regardless of what they are doing, will support them, won't give them any good advice. And then they are following, especially with the political parties, because they are only there to serve their political interests. So they take a couple of friends and then people who even mostly after the election don't even care what is happening. I fortunately had some very good friends, especially both in the SRC and in NASPA, who would call you every now and then to ask you what programs you are bringing up. Do you need any support? Do you need us to help you invite anybody? Do you need funds? Do you need us to help you get sponsorship? They were interested in the legacy I would leave behind. So they didn't want anything to go wrong. So they would give you advice from time to time to make sure you are on top of issues. So if you are a leader or you want to be a leader and you don't have enough in the past when we meet our student leaders and then they point us, especially Nooks or USAC, they point us up, oh, whenever this. So all you hear is about the bad things they've done. Oh, this is a guy that was sleeping with all the girls. Oh, this is a girl that slept her way to become the women's commissioner. So these are the things you hear, and then you get saddened, because even if at this stage, all people can rely on is on political, politicians, rely on, sleeping their way through, rely on, even, the funny thing, even people add black magic, what you call juju.
Yeah. Absolutely true. I would have loved to listen more to the part where Razak was talking about people adding black magic to student leadership. I mean, sometimes it gets so dirty to that extent where people take their fellow leaders to, other powers to be brought down and all that. I remember someone was sharing an experience whereby a lady who was contesting for one of these student leadership positions woke up on the day of election with swollen feet like elephantiasis. Like the person has had elephantiasis and couldn't even move an inch. So that is to say that such a person cannot go to grounds, cannot go on the grounds to campaign, cannot go on the grounds to vote, cannot go on the grounds to at least do her final, tactics or final things to make sure that she wins the election. So she became bedridden on the day of election. And it's very sad. I mean, why would you go in for like an election and instead of projecting your capabilities, instead of projecting your vision, instead of outlining what you want to do, your programs, you rather go ahead to take your colleagues to, other sources of powers and all that, just to bring them down, just to make sure that they are not able to win, just to make sure that they are sick and bedridden, just to make sure that you take up their life just because of position. I mean, this is one thing that if you're a student leader, you should eschew from, okay? So kindly eschew from such. We have Nanajiman with us. I think Rashad's network has failed us once again, which we cannot falter him for because he actually has no control over it. So Nanajiman, you are welcome back to Empowerment Our Show. Let's go on a quick commercial break and then we'll ask you a few more questions. I think we've spoken at length and would want to at least go on a little break.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Let me say a fish I won't do the brave or her. Your monk or her, your fish, beat is a catfish, your catfish or her, your rahu, your barracuda, your tilapia medium, and your big size, and your red brim or your cleany dada, and your the ain't clean here, and your fish, a friend egg fish, and your mackerel, and your croaker, and your snappers, clean one uncleaning, and your sea brim. Fish there, I won't do be pray. Mint me will go in cry. You will not be on a one casaoba. The giddy so benny the open. Ye dear, ye bamu papa, ye bamu baby pa, ye giddy some beba there.
All right, you are welcome back. If you just tuned in, you are watching Empowerment Hour show live on Today Ghana News TV. So the topic for discussion is the dynamics of student leadership in Ghana. And we have two amazing personalities with us, Abdul Razak Rashad and Derek Ajiman Crespo. Okay, so we've had an interesting discussion thus far and would want to proceed with further questions from our audience. We are already 30 minutes to the end of the program. Would want to encourage you to keep staying tuned, keep being with us till the end of the program. Keep bringing your questions, keep liking, keep commenting. We appreciate all that you are doing. So let me read a comment from Christopher Wisdom Penu once again to Derek. And he says, "Thank you, Derek. Ever been accused falsely? Your student leadership journey? If yes, how did you respond, react, or handle?" So he's asking if you've ever had any accusation with regards to your student leadership journey. If yes, how did you respond? How did you react? And how did you handle that?
Yeah, I think like right from, let's say, the junior high level to the tertiary level, definitely you're going to get people accusing you of when you're a leader that you didn't do this thing right. It's going to come up. As a leader, you should expect that, okay? But sometimes what I cannot really pinpoint, let's say this was the scenario of that, but I know that there were times where my team members were not in support with certain decision that I took, or when certain project didn't go the way they were expected, we were accused of taking a bad initiative or using bad method. That's why, and definitely as a leader, you should be ready to accept responsibilities for when such things comes up. And sometimes if it requires that you explain to them or apologize to your people, that okay, fine, you take responsibilities for whatever outcome. Because just the same way when it becomes successful, you take the praise. When it goes back to, you should be willing to also take responsibilities that saying things didn't go on well. So I know that definitely it's been a very long journey right from infancy, but definitely I know that, yeah, those things came up, and when it came up, fine. If you are responsible, we took responsibilities for that. And the ones that we were not, or the ones that where there were a little bit of confusion and other stuff, we try to explain to our people or our subordinate or reasons why we took certain decisions, and we learn from them. So definitely there were issues, and some were true, some were not. The ones that were true, you just take responsibilities for that. The ones that are for, sometimes you just let it go as a leader, or just say a few comments about it, or just come out and say that you have no idea about that. Not everybody is going to believe it, but as a leader, you always have to provide feedback to your subordinates. So that was the thing that we did way back at school.
Okay. Noted with thanks, Derek. We also want to find out from you. Most of us have people that we look up to. We have people, we have forerunners, we have forebearers, people that have taken the lead, people that have also opened the door for us to enter, okay, when it comes to leadership and all that. And we have people that have had much experience than we have. Okay, so each of us may have a role model one way or the other. So we want to find out from you, did you have any role model, or do you currently have any role model in leadership or any mentor?
Yeah, definitely. I have somebody, the current Minister for Information, Kwapong, is somebody that I adore so much. But for a few years now, I've decided not to get to that kind of level, because I don't want to do main politics. In the beginning, yes, that was why we're just getting into politics, just to find ourselves there. But after looking at the kind of politics that is being done in the Western world and look at the one that is being done at home,
Yeah,
I
like
don't think it's something that I'll be going into it. But if my mind changes and I still want to be somebody like Onhenewaa Nkrumah because of he started with the media and entertainment, and it's an aspect that I find so much passion in. So let's say that portfolio is something that if I'm to choose or want to find myself anywhere, is going to be maybe Ghana's Minister for Information.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
I just admire him. Let me say it that way. But not
So
willing to go to
he's
politics now.
someone you look up to, but then
Yeah.
you don't want to enter into mainstream politics as a now.
Now, and two is the first deputy speaker, my MP. So lucky enough, because I wanted to be like him some years ago, I got closer to him. There are times that I visited him in Parliament. That because and he being a Vanda, that kind of thing, I felt like I was in that kind of line.
Could
So
identify
at the
with.
end, I become maybe a member of Parliament for the Vepai constituency. But as it stands now, politics is something that I don't want to get
You
myself
wouldn't want
into.
to.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a lot of people that keep saying it, that looking at the kind of politics in the Western countries and that which is being done in our
Mhm.
African countries, sometimes it makes you lose interest in becoming a politician.
Yeah.
And I think that's precisely what you are also
Yeah. Yeah.
drawn
Yeah. Yeah.
towards. It's just unfortunate. We just hope that the system would one day be, totally cleaned, and should I say there will be some kind of sanity in our political atmosphere, so that it will attract a lot of young people to enter into politics.
Yeah, and let me just chip into what Razak said with respect to the juju thing in politics. Those are the things that scare people. Even
Yes.
there are people who are very competent. I remember when I told my mom, like, okay, fine, I want to be an MP. I was just kidding. I just said it, and he said, no, 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 somebody will kill you. That kind of thing. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
like so. Uh,
Giving
you see that
sponsorship.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
You
that
know
kind
what I mean? So it's very scary. Our kind of politics is
of.
very scary. And with incidents when you hear that next day to election, somebody has shot somebody, some people had to lose their life. So when you think about the fact that, okay, fine, you've made enough money, you have a good job, then what is wrong if I don't just come out publicly to serve my people? And at the end of the day, with the intention of doing good, I have to really make an unexpected death, then it's something that is very bad at our political system. And once you experience the Western life, you have the prime minister just riding on bicycle from Westminster just to and it's something that we cannot do. That's why our leaders are surrounded by bodyguards, they're surrounded by military men, convoy, and all those things are waste of resources, because we have to fuel all the cars that will be following because we have to show the president, or because it looks scary. Somebody is thinking of just eliminating you. I'm not saying it's not being done here, but it's really felt the impact of people doing dubious stuff when you want to engage yourself in politics is lesser. It's not much felt, as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah,
than as is being seen at home.
yeah, yeah. That's so true. And I think I've had a lot of people give so many narratives as you are given. And the narrative you are given is no different from what I've heard from other people in the European countries with regards to the politics that is being played there, and the kind of politics that is being played in our African country. We just hope for the better. As I said earlier, we hope that the system would be sanitized, and there will be a bit of sanity when it comes to our politics as Africans. Okay, I would also want to find out from you, how do you continue to grow and how do you continue to develop as a leader?
The truth of the matter is, leadership is a learning. I always say it's a learning process. So day in, day out, we learn from our mistakes. And
Yes.
once we learn, because the mistakes that we did in the past, there are those stuff that is really going to help us and help us improve. So I remember that there was a time I had a leadership position. I really made a very bad move, and it affected me big time. But it was good to make those decisions at that time, for you to be able to learn. So student leadership is something that I always recommend for everybody. In fact, any leadership position that comes up, if it's there, just give it a try, because it's very good to make the mistakes at the beginning, so that when you get to the top level, you stop making those kind of mistakes, and it's going to help you. You understand? Um, like I said, you have to learn. And people, once you find yourself in a leadership position, you also pick some kind of trait from your subordinate, even though you are the one leading, but you realize that there are people in your team that are very good when it comes to certain aspects, or your people higher than you, they possess certain kind of good traits or qualities that you can pick them. So it's all about just picking. The reason why I feel like I'm going to grow is like I'm always ready to learn from people higher than me. I'm always ready to get closer to them, ask them how they did saying things, and just add them to the things that I already know as a leader, and try to just learn from my mistakes. Because once, if you keep on doing the same thing, keep on getting the same results, and that is the only way you can grow. Once you stop making mistakes or limiting the mistakes you make, once you hold a certain kind of position, when you rise up, as more and more you rise, you correct those mistakes, and that will help you grow. So that is how I think will help me grow as a leader.
Okay, that's great. Also, we would want to find out from you. You know, as a leader, there are some kind of, should I say, assets, okay, that you should have or you should possess. So, what is a leader's best asset? As a leader, what should be your best asset?
To me, if you really want to grow as a leader, it's integrity and honesty.
Okay.
Those two, if you're going to be successful, it's that. If you're going to fall, it's that. Because when you look at integrity and honesty, and when you just look at the broad aspect of, that's where the corruption, the allegation, because when you have integrity, you
Yeah.
stand by good actors, good morals, principles, doing the right thing. I think you're going to be a very successful leader. But it's unfortunate that our system, they tied up the hands of our leaders, so they are unable to live this kind of values that will make them responsible leaders. And people used to say that, okay, me and Kamen, yes, sir. See, when you are there, sometimes it's not you. You are not the one. The forces, there are certain forces that will just really lure you to do certain kind of thing. But I think we should still be able to hold on to our values. So integrity
Yes.
is the key. If you ask me to choose between the two, I would say every leader, something you should be looking forward to is integrity. That one can just mess you up. It's really mess a lot of people up. And day in, day out, once you lack integrity, trust me, you are going nowhere.
Wow, that's a very great and important one that you have mentioned and you have raised, because as a person, you have to be a person of integrity. Okay, so if you will rise or you will fall, or should I say, if you will succeed or you will fail as a leader, it all rises and falls on integrity. Okay, if you are not a person of integrity, I mean, you wouldn't even have the trust of your own followers. You wouldn't
Yeah.
have the trust of people who even initially believed in you and voted for you.
Yeah.
So these are very key things that if you're aspiring to be a leader or you are already in a leadership position, you should hold in high esteem. Okay. So thank you so much. I think I saw a comment from Ruth Force. If my producers would, okay, quickly let me read it out. Ruth Foss says politics in Western world is equally dirty, except that the law will catch up with you no matter who you are. But the same cannot be said for Ghana. It's just very unfortunate and pathetic. In Ghana, we usually say that we have the laws, we have the rules, with the exception that the laws and the rules that we have, they back, but they do not bite. They back in the sense that the law speaks, the rule speaks, they are there, they are on paper, but I mean, when it comes to enforcing them, the law wouldn't bite you. The law will just back at you. But I mean, you will never be caught in the grips of the law. You wouldn't be made to face some of the you wouldn't be made to face the full rigors of the law, even if you are found guilty. These are some of the things that I think our system should, or should I say, our leaders should check with regards to our political system. A lot of people are failing us. A lot of people are doing the wrong thing, which clearly is against the laws. We have the laws that could have held them, held them accountable for, but they are always left off the hook because, as I mentioned earlier, we have the laws, they back, but they do not bite. Okay, okay, I think Nana Jiman has answered that question already, and there are no more questions from our audience. But then I have this other question for you. What qualities do you think our current crop of leaders are lacking? We have a lot of leaders in our system, right from student leadership even to the national level and all that. But there are so many qualities that most of them may be lacking. What are some of those qualities that you would advise that anyone listening to us will take heed so that they do not fall victim to such?
To be honest, the whole idea is our current leaders, the ability to stand or be firm with what they want to do as leaders. People who have good ambition, good policies. Before they become leaders, when you listen to them, you see that what they have on paper are very beautiful. And as long as they're able to implement it, it's going to bring a lot of impact. But then the story becomes something different after taking the position because of what they have to go through. And for example, sometimes their hands are tied. You would like to say you want to, okay, when you come into power, you eradicate corruption. This indicates the people that you have to fight against, or the people that you have to really put them behind bars, are the same people that sponsored you. It will make it very difficult for you to. But anyway, at the end of the day, it's a very broad topic. It's something that our system, there's something wrong with our system. I always say there's something wrong with our system. But if we can have leaders or future leaders coming up trying to be like, okay, fine, not taking help from people that might, or let's say the help should be something like, okay, optional, or even after the help they should still be able to pursue or just do what they said they were going to do, or still fight for the right cause. That is what we are lacking when we come into power. Oh, now there are people dictating for us. We are not willing to do what we say we are going to do, even though we know the right thing, but we cannot even do it, all because of the channel or the route at which we passed through before we became leaders. So leaders should be able to be firm. I think when we have people like that, for let's say if let's say there are things that the president really wants to do, but a lot of people are going to be affected, a lot of people closer to him, so he cannot do them. So if it's something that we can correct, and it's worldwide, it's global, but just that our continent is something that when our leaders they come into power, it's a law because of how the channel they have to pass through before they become leaders. You understand? So
Yeah,
I think if your leaders can be firm and steadfast, we're gonna have a very good leaders in future. That's what I have to say.
great. That's very awesome. Quickly, let me find out from you. Um, you know, in as much as we are encouraging more students and people to enter into leadership positions, because we'll come to that, the benefits of leadership, would also want to try as much as possible to let them know the red flags and the potential pitfalls that comes with leadership. Okay, so one of it is that sometimes you are not able to multitask, and then, for instance, you are in school, and then because of your leadership position you may have to defer
Mhm,
because you failed a particular course, or
mhm.
because you didn't do well in a particular subject and all that. And
Yeah.
sometimes you end up coming out very poorly, such that you may have the experience as a leader, but when
Mhm,
it comes to your grades, it's a no-no for employers, or should I say, it's a no-no for people out there. Because
yeah.
if there are other leaders that they've done exceedingly well in terms of academics and in terms of their leadership journey, okay,
Mhm.
and their legacies and all that. What are some of these avoidable or potential pitfalls, and how can they deal with it?
No, you see, you can never eat your cake and have it, like I always say.
Mm-hmm.
At the highest level, once you have to associate yourself to a political party, know that there is no backing off.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, everybody gets to know that Joyce Onhenewaa Kwapong belongs to MPP. So
Mm-hmm.
even if you are going to look for job, and once they figure out that, okay, fine, you belong to this kind of political party, because you have to show your face, that kind of thing. Even though I've completed school, it's been 5 years now, but I still know that Phoebe is MPP. This person is NDC.
Yes.
Esinam, this
Clear.
Esinam our time is NDC. So if I have a company and I have to recruit, and on the day of interview, let's say I'm a very strong MPP person, and if I'm supposed to interview any of the name that I've mentioned and they don't belong to my political party, I might not favor them. Because so once you go into student politics and just associating yourself to a side, know that there are these future consequences that comes up with it. Yes. And as leaders, there are things that whatever that you do today is going to follow you in future. So if you have the opportunity to be a student leader and maybe you embezzle fund, come say, at the University of Ghana level, where if you embezzle fund or anything, it's going to come in the graphics. You're going to make headlines. So know that once you take on those leadership position, you go out or you just finish your tenure of office, not having anything associated with you. Because whether you like it or not, people are going to bring it back in the years ahead, and you have to be accountable for that. So those are the few things, and it's very risky. Anybody going into leadership especially at the nooks level, where recently there has to be issues, conflicts, and stuff, so you can lose your life. Like you said just for leadership. No, not just for leadership. There's always something in there. That's why people are willing to do that kind of juju, or just get bodyguards, or let's say people to just kill people just for positions and other stuff. So there's a lot of risk involved. So once you decide to go into those kind of position, you should be ready to face those kind of issues in life.
Okay. All right. So, Nana Jiman, I would proceed to ask you about some books that you may recommend to people on leadership and all that. But before I do that, I'll quickly want to read an announcement that I have. And then afterwards, I would ask you that question with a follow-up question before we call it a day. I think we are running behind time. So let me quickly do that, and then we'll ask the few questions left, and then we would say goodbye. Okay, so death is never a pleasant moment for anyone. Death is something that if we could all avoid, or we could all not make or allow to happen in our families or amongst our loved ones, we would have done. But it's just unfortunate that the Chi people say something, "Owo kradia and kwantumije entuminje." It's just rather unfortunate. And tonight, it's with a heavy heart that I would want to announce this particular and give this particular announcement. Okay, so this says, "My condolence," and this is coming from Rosie. She says, "It's not a pleasant moment to lose a dear one, friend, or a relative. It is very sad, painful, and leaves you in a state of anguish. As you mourn your departed mother, it is my wish and prayer that you be steadfast in the Lord, for he knows what is good for his children. My heartfelt and deepest sympathy to Annette Enyo, who is the Executive Secretary of the Concerned Women Ghana, CWJ." And Rosie says, "As you mourn and bury your mother, the late Justina Akahoho, who was 63 years of age, on 29th May 2021 at Adwajiri in Sawem, she would want to let you know that she extends her heartfelt and deepest sympathy to you. And she says her heart and spirit is with you and the entire family. May God be with you in this difficult time, Annette Enyo. So this is from Rosie. As we all sympathize with you, we all share in your loss, and we say that accept our deepest condolence, accept our deepest sympathy from Today Ghana News TV. Rosie would want to use the opportunity to say Demrefe Die, and also to say that her heart is with you, her prayers are with you, and the good Lord is with you. Be strengthened in the Lord and accept our deepest and deepest sympathy. So sorry to you as you bury your mom. We ask that God Himself will comfort you. The God who is the father of the fatherless and mother of the motherless will come to your aid and comfort you. Our hearts are with you. Sorry for your loss. So this is from Rosie to Annette Enyo. From Rosie to Annette Enyo, who is the executive secretary of the Concerned Women Ghana. Okay, so we would quickly want to ask Nana German Crespo a few more questions, and then we'll call it a day because we are almost far behind time. So Eric, we want to find out from you. Let me quickly find out from you how. Okay, before I read the announcement, I told you that we're going to ask of a few books that you would recommend when it comes to leadership. So sometimes people may have to sit down, surf the internet, and also read some books to learn. Because as you said earlier, we learn each day. Leadership is not static. Things change, situations are dynamic, society changes. So we also have to learn, we also have to adapt and all that. So do you have any books that you may recommend to anyone that wants to venture into leadership?
I think I'll recommend the Carnage, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He's an American author. That books gives you new thoughts and ambitions, and enables you how you can. It talks a whole lot how you can build people, win people's trust, how you can build empire, how you can get people to believe in your dream, how you can get people to support you as a team, as a leader. It talks a lot. It gives you most of the. It takes you out of your mental route, allows you to think outside the box, and also helps you to address leadership situations that comes up. So I think that if people are done with reading that kind of book, your thoughts or the way you think when it comes to leadership will change. So yeah, the title of the book too is How to Influence Friends by Dale Carnage. I think when you said that on Amazon, you're gonna get it.
Okay. Myself, I would search on Amazon and then I'll make sure that I
Yeah.
take a good read. Yes. I love to read, and I think this is the first time I'm hearing of this particular book. So I would also do justice to
So
it.
when you just start How to Win Friends and Influence
Okay.
People, yes, on Amazon, you get a book.
Okay. Okay. Well noted with thanks. Also we would want to find out, it's not we don't want it to appear as though we are only convincing people to enter into student leadership
Mm-hmm.
and all that. There are lots of benefits that you and I know
Yeah.
that entering into student leadership has brought to us, okay,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of personal development, in terms of career growth,
Yeah.
in terms of networking,
You said
and
it.
so many other benefits.
Mm-hmm.
If you could quickly delve a little bit deeper into some of these benefits so that anyone listening to us will know that it's not that we just went to school to waste our time, but then we went to school, even in as much as we still pursued our academics endeavors, we still attached leadership to it because it gave us some benefits which we eventually are proud of. So
Now,
let's
Joyce, at the end of the day, we are going to after school, or like in a word of work, everybody aspire to get to the top position, because I know that everybody working wants to rise through the rank, and the higher you rise, the more responsibility that comes with it, and all those are leadership. Okay, so if I would just advise people to go into leadership, because once you go into that, it nurtures you and prepare you for the bigger tasks ahead. Apart from the fact that it looks good on your CV. However, if I'm somebody looking to resumes, and I find out that, oh, you were a leader, you did this, head of that, I feel like, okay, this is a person that can contribute so much to my organization. So it's just a bonus, even though it's not something that the fact that you've handed certain leadership positions before, it means that we should give you or employ you or something, but it's just a bonus. And moreover, it helps you with your communication skill. As a leader, definitely you're going to address your team, you're going to speak to people, you're going to speak to clients, and an opportunity to learn. Now, um, I write a lot of business plan for people and how you can really get in touch with investors. And I think I got inspiration from when I was the organizing secretary for the business University of Ghana Business School for the Development, how the process that we were able to get prominent people on board and get them to even give us money. Those are the things that build our confidence that, okay, now, even if we are embarking on big projects, we know how to find our way through to get top brands on board or top companies to sponsor us. I think it's a stepping stone for the future. So it's something that student leadership is something that I would advise each and everybody. It shouldn't be maybe an SRC president, even denominational president, because you are going to learn. Like I said, you have to make those mistakes now at that stage, because the mistakes you make, the effect is lesser than when you get to the top level, which comes with a whole lot of disgrace. So even if you're a leader and you embezzle fund at the JHS level, trust me, even though it's still gonna be felt, but it's not gonna be felt where you become a CEO of a company and you embezzle funds, the way you come you make headlines in all the graphics and everything. You understand what I mean? So it's something that is a learning process. Student leadership is a learning process. Prepare us for the bigger tasks ahead, build our confidence, prepare us for the markets, because just as in fact, you've just touched on all of it, and I think based on our conversation for the past 2 hours, I think everybody watching us will love. If you're a student or a youth, it's not too late. Even in your church, in a sports group, it shouldn't be like just in the top position. Find yourself, lead. Just embark yourself to volunteerism. Decide to learn something from that, and it's going to help you in future. That's all that I can say.
That's very great. You've made very, very awesome and valuable contributions tonight. And Derek Nanajiman would want to say thank you so much. Myself and my team on Today Ghana News would want to say thank you so much. We appreciate you for your time. We appreciate you for the valuable contributions that you've made on today's program. God richly bless you. And also to Abdul Razak Rashad, we thank you so, so much for making time on our show this evening. Okay, so Abdul Razak Rashad, if you could kindly give us your final words before we
All
call it.
right. I would like to apologize for my network trouble. I didn't really know it was going to this bad, so viewers should kindly forgive me for that. And my final words, I agree with most of the things Derek said. That look, everywhere you are, you can always be a leader. And then there are times where you even lead from the back. You don't always have to be in front before you can be a leader. There are times where in my, journey as a leader, I met certain people and I realized that they were equally up to the task, just as good as me, or perhaps even better. So sometimes what I do is that instead of contesting, I support their candidature, and after they win, whether they are committees or not, I stay around to help them. And sometimes I even perform huge roles more than they themselves, because it's not all the time that your face has to show as the president or the secretary. But wherever you find yourself, you can always be the leader. The most important thing is making sure that you are there to serve, and then you do what is expected of you. Many a times we meet people on the streets and we don't even know them. Just last week, I met somebody and then he called and said, "Wow, you are my national president.
Okay, unfortunately, Rashad is still having some network difficulties, but we would want to say a very big thank you to him, and we know that it's of no fault of his, and these are some circumstances that are usually beyond our control. So we want to say a very big thank you to Rashad for his time, for his resources, for everything he's done for us on today's show. So thank you. So tonight on your show has been Abdul Razak Rashad and Derek Nana Ajiman. I've been your host, Joyce Onhenewaa Kwapong, and I would want to say see you same time next week on Today Ghana News TV. It was awesome being with you, and we hope for other entertaining programs, and we hope that you keep on patronizing our program. Have a blissful weekend. Bye bye.